Hello people, Joshino here. A lot of you might remember the Batrank 100 RendeZook video I put out a little while ago. I thought I'd share with everyone what I now know about the trick. The video then will outline how to pull off the manoeuvre itself and some further tips to ensure that you have the best chance of hitting that pesky enemy SF. Quickly going over the manoeuvre itself, which is also covered quite well by Quadron TV, I have some adjustments and a little bit of my own way of doing it. First off, you really need to have a dogfighter airframe or the default airframe equipped. Otherwise your ESF won't drop in a way which will allow you to get back in. Personally, I've pulled it off with the hover on the scythe, but I've had to move in the air and often got in by the skin of my teeth. It's slightly harder with the scythe because you can fall through the central gap. Even more so, the HUD being light blue is quite off-putting, as you'll be pointing to the sky a lot and it'll be very hard to read. Okay, so you need to map a key to roll right. I set mine to G. Also, you need to remap your eject key to E, just so that it's close enough for your key to roll and then be convenient to jump out at the right moment. So onto the manoeuvre. You get yourself up to around 30 degrees vertically. Use the HUD to line this up. Then you need to be completely level on the horizontal bar, where it should read 0 degrees. Then you roll using the set key, in my case G, until the vertical bar of your crosshair and the horizontal HUD line meet. Then you eject. You have a second or two to fire, then turn back to the SF. I'd advise spamming the E key to get back in, as you maybe go past otherwise. Just a note, recent HUD changes have removed the horizontal bar in the Mustang and the Sauron, so you'll have to turn to 90 degrees, which is slightly harder. Anyway, both the angles can be very slightly off, and as in real world situations you may be forced to jump earlier to escape destruction. Also, going at higher or lower angles will look more dramatic, but will be more risky. I don't know if it's a placebo, but it seems you can hold shift and run slightly in the air is what I do if I have a case of wandering aircraft. First of all, on the tips, I'll cover the rocket launchers themselves. Okay, so you have the choice between the default launcher for your faction and the decimator. As for the moment, the Phoenix is unusable with the ADS while jumping changes. The downside of the default launchers is that they do not quite kill the enemy but take them to burning, meaning that those with fire suppression will survive and those without will die. I'd say 10 to 20% of the pilots run fire suppression, so it's always a risk. However, you can hit them prior and then do the manoeuvre, but that adds another notch of difficulty. On the other hand, the decimator one-hits ESF, but it is slower than the default launcher and has a much more immediate drop, meaning you will have to get them closer. Okay, onto the biggest tip of all, positioning your enemy and subsequently aiming your shots. So first of all, the best place to have your enemy SF is right on your tail, meaning that you'll need to get their attention. I often shoot at them or around them to do so. Also, you want them slightly elevating to meet where you were before you bailed, so that you can aim slightly above them and get a hit. Although not at all impossible, longer shots and ESFs which are further afield are harder to aim at, partly because they have more of a chance to dodge the incoming projectile, and also because the projectile drop will be even harder to guess at range. Furthermore, aiming is quite difficult just due to the fact that you're moving in the air as well as the enemy. There is a bit of luck involved as well as some approximate guesswork. Getting an enemy into position. One of the little manoeuvres I often do is to dip down when they are on my tail, almost going underneath them, forcing them to readjust, then coming up again to the 30 degrees angle. When I feel that they are on my tail, I make the jump. More often than not, they will readjust behind you to fire. Plus, you'll probably take too much damage if you simply get into position straight away, which especially for good pilots could mean your swift demise. Another tip is to use any buildings as cover or even rocks, using a similar tactic of making them realign their shots whilst you have a chance to get into position. I find that biolabs allow for this in that you can dip under them and re-emerge on the other side in your jump angle. You might also want to use cover to generally stop their fire from killing you, even auto-repairing enough health for another chance. I'd advise breaking off if you notice an air-to-air lock. They don't need to be behind you at all. Furthermore, jumping out of your aircraft whilst lagging can freeze it in the air as you hurtle forward to your doom. That's happened too many times to me. Finally, fire suppression has saved my bacon quite a few times and is very helpful in keeping you alive whilst RendeZooking. Anyway guys, I hope this has helped and you can have some fun trying it out. Until next time guys, Joshino.